Righto. Are we live? Okay, good afternoon everybody and welcome to this meeting of the Georges River Local Planning Panel. Excuse me, we're just starting the meeting. My name's Donna Reigate and I'm chairing the panel this afternoon. We're currently streaming from the Georges River Council offices in McMahon Street, Hurstville. The panel members who make up the panel today are Wayne Carter and Stephen Davies, who are our expert panel members, and Lisa Pemberton, who is our community representative. So welcome to all of you. We've been appointed by the Minister for Planning to determine specified development applications, including the applications that are on the agenda today, in accordance with the requirements of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act. We would like to acknowledge the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of all lands, waters and sky in the Georges River area. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who live, work and meet on these lands. I'm required to advise you that under the provisions of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act, this meeting of the panel is being live streamed and will be made available on Council's website. People who wanted to make representations to the panel were requested to register a summary of their interests. We received 5 registrations. We've reviewed those registrations and advised Council that we wish to hear from those people who've registered to speak. All of the speakers are in relation to the Planthurst Road Carlton application. But I won't read out all the details of that because I get to read them out again in a minute. We're required as panel members to disclose any conflicts of interest in respect of any matter on the agenda for a panel meeting today. The relevant forms have been completed by everybody and are tabled for inclusion in the minutes. Nobody had any interest to declare, and I'll just check in case anything's arisen since you did your forms. Anybody? No, and not for me either, so still no interest to declare. We've received assessment reports from Council in relation to the 3 development applications we're looking at today. We've also undertaken site inspections and looked at the nearby localities for the 3 matters. We will deal with each of them in order as published in the agenda, being DA 2025/0247, Unit 1/47 to 49 Planthurst Road, Carlton. Initial use of Unit 1 as a place of public worship. Second one is DA 2025/0451, which is 58A Algernon Street, Oatley, alterations and additions to a dwelling house. And DA 2025/0456, 9 Stewart Crescent, Blakehurst, restorative and rectification works to existing car parking structure. So the way this works is that we will hear from people wishing to speak that have registered to speak on the agenda items. And as I said, we've only got people registered for the Carlton matter. They'll be able to make representations to the panel. Each person gets 3 minutes. And I'd ask those people to speak clearly and loudly enough so that people who are out there in the World Wide Web watching these proceedings can hear what you've got to say. There are little buttons on the speaker things there that you'll come and sit next to, and you need to press the button and make your microphone go red so that people can hear you. And I'm required to remind people that any defamatory, discriminatory or offensive language might result in whoever uses that being exposed to liability for which neither Council nor the panel will take any responsibility. So once we've heard from all of the people who've registered to speak, we will move into a closed session where we will make a decision in relation to the 3 matters that we've got on our agenda for today. That closed session isn't live streamed. But we will endeavour to have the minutes of that session and indeed the entire meeting available on Council's website. That's usually within 2 to 3 days of the meeting being held. Having said that, there's a couple of extra holiday days, and I don't think council staff will be here loading things on the website on Friday or Monday. So it might take a bit longer than 2 to 3 days on this particular occasion. Okay, that's the introductory remarks. I'd now like to ask, do we have Sammy Elmir here? Yes? Okay, please come and sit there, and I think you probably know about pressing the red button.
Yes. Good afternoon, panel chair, panel members, council staff and members of the public. From the onset, I'd like to declare that I have no interest in this matter whatsoever. I did not have an interest in any of these matters whilst I was on council. I'm merely here as a member of the public, a former mayor of this council, a council member, to address the panel, council and the merits of the application in accordance with what my obligations are as a member of the public. So I thank you for your time today, this afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to address you this afternoon. I speak in strong support of DA 2020-25-0247 for the proposed small place of worship at Planthurst Road, Carlton. I do so as someone who has lived in this community my entire life, whose family has been part of this area since 1948, and as someone who has spent many years serving this community as a councillor, deputy mayor and mayor. Through those roles, I have dealt with planning matters, land use questions, community expectations, and the often difficult balance between managing impacts and enabling appropriate development. In my view, this proposal has clear planning merit. At its core, this is a modest, low-impact adaptive reuse of an existing building. It is not an overdevelopment of the site. It does not seek to intensify the land in any unreasonable way. It does not present as an incompatible or out-of-place use. Rather, it is a sensible and orderly use of that land that sits comfortably within an established commercial and light industrial precinct. And that point matters. Because when this application is assessed properly and objectively, it is plainly evident that this proposed use is less intensive, less disruptive, and more contained than many other uses that could lawfully operate from this site or as a right with consent. This is an important planning reality, and it should not be overlooked. In relation to traffic and parking, I think this discussion needs to remain grounded in fact and proportionality. This is not a high turnover commercial use. Attendance is generally brief, staggered, and throughout the day, and often outside peak times. Many users will come from nearby homes or workplaces, including on foot. And the surrounding precinct is already designed to accommodate regular vehicle movements and commercial activity. In that context, the likely impacts are modest and entirely manageable. From a broader planning perspective, this proposal also delivers a number of positive outcomes. It supports the efficient reuse of an existing build form, avoids unnecessary redevelopment, improves local access to a community facility, and allows an important community need that is met with the locality rather than pushing that demand elsewhere. These are all sound and desirable planning outcomes. Beyond the technical planning merits, there is also a very clear community benefit. A small place of worship is not simply a building, it is a place of connection, support, belonging, and stability. It gives local families the ability to gather, worship, and maintain community ties close to where they live and work. There is, in my view, a genuine and established need for a facility of this kind, and this proposal responds that needs in a way that is measured, respectful, and entirely appropriate. Ultimately, this is a proposal that is planning appropriate, strategically sound, low impact, and beneficial to the community. For those reasons, I respectfully urge Council to approve the DA 2025/0247. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Just hang on there for a sec in case any of the panel members want to ask a question. No. Okay, you're free. Thank you very much. I'd now like to invite Terry Goodhue to come forward. Mr. Goodhue, you've got to press that button and make your microphone go red. Thank you.
That one. That's the one. I should notice I sell this stuff with all the time. Just before I start, I'd just like to raise a point for the panel to consider. As you know, it's the Easter weekend. A lot of people are away, been caught up in the fuel crisis, and we've had people try to get the stuff together. Now, we have sent in requests to Cassandra and a few others to have this matter deferred for a couple of weeks, simply because of time, all the rest of it. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but this is one thing we understand. This particular issue is of great importance for the 138 people that put in the application. If the panel could take that into consideration and either defer it now or in closed session or whatever, it'd be worthwhile. I'd be grateful.
Yes, Mr. Goodhue, we are aware of some requests to defer the matter. The panel, obviously, council schedules matters for panel consideration. We're not in charge of what's on the agenda, but we have been advised by council that the matter's been exhibited twice for significant periods, and that people have had the opportunity to make submissions, and in fact many people have done that, both for and against the development. We've also been advised that submitters were given the opportunity from the 25th of March, I think, to register to speak today. And that people had the opportunity to either come in person or to appear via video link, or indeed to participate by phone if they wish to do that. So that people have had ample opportunity to participate if they want to do that. The other thing that I would say is that councils are under significant pressure from the state government to improve the processing time for development applications.
Yes,
so there's a bit of a rock and a hard place, and I also think that it's important that you know that this application is being dealt with in the same general manner and timeframes that all applications are dealt with.
Yes.
People are given that week before the panel meeting to register to speak. So that's how.
2 weeks. 2 weeks notice.
Well, yeah. So. Anyway, thank you very much for raising the point, and yes, we have many balls that in the air that we need to try and manage as well.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, I'd like to hear what you'd like to tell us about the application.
Okay. I'm greatly concerned that the panel has not been supplied the full scope of the application for the proposed mosque. In the panel's response, which I've sent to you, there is no mention of the following points. The regional DA said it was 24/7 operation. Worshippers will not park in the street. Who is going to police this is my question. There was a request in the original proposal that resident parking signage be looked at. Why, when there are no worshippers parking in the street? The fact that the traffic report claimed there will be a small delay at the roundabout is again a blatant lie. It is bad enough as it is known. It also appears that 2 of the current units that are for sale have their allocated spots put down as parking for the mosque, some 15 spots. So there again is a great difference between what the panel is shown and the real world. Like the points I've just raised for you in the original VA, they're not a fantasy of mine. I feel the panel has been lied to about the overall proposal or misled. As you're aware, I've supplied to you, the panel, some 70 points of the objections on your determination how you were given the incorrect information or blatant lies to you. I sent that through, I believe that's been sent through to you. The other interesting one is the panel is aware there are 2 brothels, licensed brothels, located less than 100 metres away from the actual proposed mosque. Now, that is a direct conflict of interest on the panel's on the council's own website. The brothels have been there for a number of years in that area there. This is where it gets a little bit confusing, which you've been experts on this. We've seen the big question is the E4 under the council's own guidelines states that no worship or mosque is allowed in this building with the E4 rating. If this was changed, when was it changed and by who? Was it for political or financial gain? We're not sure. Again, this ruling is very come see, come out type thing. And we have, again, has the panel been given correct information? You may be aware if the E4 was adhered to, we wouldn't be sitting here this afternoon on that. You may be aware the press release was put out by the Bondi after the Bondi Terraces Act that all mosque prayer rooms must undergo a police check. Has this been done? And if so, where is the names of the people who are supposed to be running the mosque? By the council pushing for the approval of this application, they have again shown their contempt for the residents. The original proposal was rejected in July 25, I think from memory, around about there. And here we are, 12 months later, looking at a proposal still full of the same holes. If passed, this is the thin edge of the wedge, and as history has proven, the worshippers will not take any notice of the restrictions, and we do as they please, including the parking. I therefore request that the panel reject the proposal totally, as they all been railroaded into making a wrong decision with incorrect information. Thank you.
I'm not pressing my button. Thank you very much, Mr. Goodhue. Thank you. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Goodhue?
Yes, I just
Sorry, Stu. Yes.
yeah, Stephen Davies. I'm just wondering, what is your objection? You say there's some incorrect information, but we'll put that aside. But I presume you're a resident of the area.
I live in Woods Avenue,
Okay,
which
what
is
do you-
5 minutes.
What
Fine,
would be?
fine.
I just
It's
from my
people-
point of view, what would be, say, your three principal objections from an amenity point of view, not a principal point of view?
from a
Amenity, the impact on your.
Oh, okay. It's one's going to be parking.
Okay.
There is more parking in this. They say the people are going to trade public transport or walk. That's not going to happen. They park everywhere, as history has proven, and all the rest of it. There originally was a 24/7 operation. So by opening it, there's nothing to stop them from having discussions in the 24/7. And I know from where I work, and I've spoken to a couple of
So
emails.
that's a noise issue you're concerned about, is
Correct.
it? Okay, that's right, Stu. All right.
And the other one is sometimes when after they've done their worshipping, they stay back and speak to the Almans for discussion about things. They can speak for 2 minutes, or can they speak there for hours and stay on hours. And that again sends people into other hours and all the rest of it. The training room again is another, shall we say, interesting point. The training room, if you're going to have a training room, you would ensure that those people are there and then run into the prayer session. Now, they could be 6, 10, 5, 15 people. They're going to park their cars there. Then they're going to be there and take up all the spots. Parking, people around there. We've got the kids doing the karate class around the corner. Again, it's a mess at the best of times, and particularly on Thursday, Friday, during the day, during the night, there's kids running up and down the thing, and we have enough problems with parking in our street as it is.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify your own personal concerns on that. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else? No. Okay. Thank you very much. We'd now like to hear from Dennis Nolan, please.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk today. Most of our points are the same as Terry's, but I just emphasise other things a little bit. I would like to know why we have an industrial development plan containing information on what can and can't be built or established in our light industrial area, times of operation, noise abatement, setbacks, etc. So why, as a community, are we having to put up with two sex service establishments open 24 hours, 7 days a week? And now we are expected to be woken by traffic at 4:30 in the morning till 10 at night, as there will be an extra 170 car movements plus, made up from 34 cars entering and 34 cars exiting out by all the other auxiliary committee members, youth groups, inmans. The amount of traffic using streets in the area is already at a peak. Sometimes during the day and night, you can't even get across the road. I now advise the panel why this DA should not be approved, as it makes other buildings and DAs in the area illegal. Firstly, there are two sex service establishments in the immediate area. Council's industrial development documents state that a sex service establishment must not be closer than 200 walking metres from a church or a place of worship. Therefore, if this DA is approved, it will make the sex service establishments illegal. As Council has already approved the DAs for these sex service buildings, I don't know what else, but the hours of operation, the hours under operational restrictions in the Council's Industrial Development Plan are 7 AM to 7 PM, Monday to Saturday, no work on a Sunday, which was done when that building was constructed. I know there is a plan of management for this DA, but we already have two establishments with opening hours of 24 hours. Why are we now going to have to put up with another establishment opening an extra 6 hours a day? It is time Council applied their industrial plan as was written for the residents of the area. Why is the opening 4:30 till 10 PM? What happens between 4:30 AM until 1 PM prayer time? Has anybody from the council actually seen how 34 cars are going to manipulate this parking area? I have a carport that is approximately the same in width, and to get two cars in and be able to get one out, my wife has to drive in and my car has to be backed in so that we can open our doors to get out of the car. Their parking system looks good on paper. Let's see how it works in the real world. I have to ask the question, would the planning panel please have a closer look at the traffic report, as I can show photos and videos of parking and traffic, which is in complete opposition to what is in their report. Could you enlarge their own photo used in the report to see for yourselves the car parking and traffic flow? It is apparent to me that the original traffic report was not in favour of the prayer room, so a revised report has been done, which no resident can understand. In their opening statement, they have said that they have used historic history and can't confirm data used from third parties and other sources. This document can't even guarantee it's correct. Funny how whenever a traffic report is mentioned, all the cars stored on Blakesley Road seem to just disappear. And I can park outside my own house. I keep my own 3 vehicles on my property. This is just not possible with storage of cars not able to be immediately fixed by those with small industrial units and are stored on local streets. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members of the panel, any questions for Mr. Nolan? No? No? No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Our final two speakers are the applicant and an advisor on behalf of the applicant. Would you like to come up together? Or you can come separately if you want. But we'll let you have your 2 lots of 3 minutes. We won't rip you off on time front. So that's Nasser Hussain and Jared Teresi.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, if you'd like to address this, please, and if you'd like to clarify any of the issues that members of the public have raised too, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
No problems. I might just raise a few things first, and then I will address the comments just made. Obviously, we support the. Sorry. Okay. So obviously, we support the recommendation before the panel, and in our view, the report which has been prepared is quite comprehensive and detailed, and I feel it does address a lot of the concerns the actual objectors have raised. As part of the process, we actually did engage with council staff. There was an earlier comment that the application was refused. It actually wasn't refused. It was an RFI, for which then we came back and
Fill it out.
request for information, sorry, and we actually provided the additional information. So the application was never refused. We just provided additional information. So from our perspective, we're comfortable with the recommendation before the panel. There are 2 conditions I do want to speak to the panel about. The first condition actually relates to, and it's condition number 31. Condition, it's page 42 of the actual report. Condition 31 regarding the CCTV cameras. We have no objections with this condition. No objections in terms of Part A. We've got no objections in terms of Part C. Part B is a little bit problematic, and we feel it's probably gone a little bit too far in simply saying all areas. We have no issue on the ground level to be a CCTV camera there in the area of the prayer, but the actual mezzanine area is more private, where there is actually meeting rooms and counselling rooms. So in our view, we would like a distinction between all areas excluding the mezzanine. So I've put that, and obviously it's for the panel to consider that, but that's certainly a request we would like. The other condition which I'm going to talk to is about condition 35. Condition 35 actually brings in a trial period. We have the report is silent actually in the report about the trial. We have no objections with a trial period, so my comments are not based upon that. It's more the way it could be potentially interpreted. So if you look at the last 3 lines of that condition, it says if no application is lodged within the required time frame, or if the application is refused, then obviously, you know, we would have to cease the operation. The concern we may have is that if we do lodge the application and the application has not yet been determined, or more importantly, has been determined before the 2 years, then basically we have to cease that operation, and we haven't had the opportunities if we want to take that to the Land and Environment Court, for instance. So I want to make a suggestion, and I'm happy for the panel subsequently to work out an alternative wording, but it is about an outcome, which is to use some words to the effect of saying that the use can still operate past a 2-year trial period until such time that the application is finally determined. And therefore that just gives us the operator, in the unlikely event that it is not approved, that we still have that opportunity to keep operating until the application is finally determined, rather than simply once it's been determined by the council or the panel in this instance. They're the only 2 changes we want to make. Otherwise, we're happy with the conditions of consent. I will now touch on some of the comments which were made by the previous speakers. In terms of car parking, you would have seen in the report, we've got more than adequate parking provided on site. If you apply the place of public worship provisions, technically we only are required to provide 7 car parking spaces. If you actually look at the rate based on square meterage, we only need to provide 24. We've got 34. So we have more than adequate car parking in place. The plan of management is very detailed in terms of how that is to operate. So it's pretty clear in terms of how that is going to function. The issue of noise is probably one of the rare places of public worship I've had where the whole car parking is actually in a basement and the whole obviously activities contained within a building. So from our perspective, we don't see there is any noise issues which will occur. We are in an industrial area. It's the building or the units to the front of the property. So it's a reasonable distance away from residential. So from our perspective, we don't see there being any concerns in terms of acoustic. And as the panel will be aware, we have got an acoustic report, and that report highlights that it's acceptable. In terms of my experience, in terms of places of worship and industrial zones, I've been practicing now for 40 years, and I have to say in all that time I've always seen places of public worship are permitted uses in industrial areas. So I don't see that as being something different than the norm, just from my experience. And I guess the only thing about the morning where the comment is made, why does it open at 4:30? The reason that is that there is morning prayers. So there's fundamentally 5 prayer sessions in a day, and that way it's open early for that particular purpose. That's probably even from a high level. Obviously myself and the architect is here, and if there's any specific questions, I'm more than happy to answer those questions.
Okay. Mr. Hussain, do you want to add anything, or are you happy to leave it there?
I'm happy to leave it there, answer any questions as needed.
Thank you. Okay, members of the panel, questions for the applicant representatives? No?
No.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, so
Thank you very much.
thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the end of our list of speakers. As I said earlier, what happens now is that we close the public meeting and move into our closed deliberative session. And we endeavour to have the minutes of the entire meeting up on Council's website within a couple of working days of this afternoon's meeting. I'd like to thank my panel colleagues, all of the Council staff, and most importantly, all of you members of the public who've come along to participate in this panel meeting this afternoon. And I'll declare the public meeting closed, and we'll see you again next time something's happening in your part of the world. Thank you.